Right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. If you're tuned in live, go ahead, put your flames in the chat. Also, let us know where you're listening in from. As usual, I have with me the king of branding and positioning, Mr. Sean Raiz. And today, we're going to get into a little bit of marketing. So, guys, if you have your questions, go ahead, just put them in the comments, and we'll get right to them. What's up,
Very
Sean?
good, very good. So marketing today, marketing. All right, give me 1 second. Pierre Ingram on IG, phenomenal morning. We have Baba Jeet, I believe, Elizabeth, Casey, Portia, Jacqueline, and Endurance on LinkedIn Voice. So we are live across IG, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to it. And LinkedIn a couple different times, right? So we're in a couple different places on LinkedIn, couple different places on Facebook. Let's go. Let's grow. I'm excited. And honestly, like that's marketing. This is marketing. What you're watching right now is marketing. You have to let people know that you exist in the marketplace. You're open for business. You have to hang your shingle and let people know. Be consistent about it. Let's go.
100%, 100%. Sean, I always like to start by, defining the subject. I think that's the most important thing because a lot of the times we may feel like we think about things in a certain way, and then for everybody it's different. So one person might feel like branding is, let's say, just a logo and some sort of text, something that you put on a shirt, but you may define it differently. And I could definitely see somebody saying marketing being one thing where we may think of it as something else. So, from your perspective, how would you define marketing?
Marketing is the vehicle. Marketing is putting eyes on your brand. Marketing is letting people know that you exist. So, marketing is the vehicle taking the driver to the marketplace. You've got something to sell. You got something of value. You've learned something. You've earned something. You've seen something. You've been somewhere. You have value. The only way that people are going to find out about that value is if you market yourself, if you promote yourself, if you let people know that you exist. That's it. If nobody knows that you exist, then you're the best kept secret. You can't be the only viable option when you're the best kept secret. So that's if you're on a job looking for a promotion, if you want to get out of the situation, if you want to put yourself in a better situation, if you want to add a zero to your number, no matter where you sit, corporate, entrepreneurial space, you have to let the market know that you're open for business.
100%. Now, let's get into the difference. What is the difference between marketing and branding?
Branding is the who, marketing is the how. The brand, you are the brand. So we teach you are the brand you, and not what you do. What you do is how people find out about it. Right? So you are the brand. The marketing is how you let people know that you exist. Think about it. So your education, your experience, your expertise, that's the brand. That's who you are. Before you get a job interview, people don't, all they see is the marketing. All they see is the marketing. You send in your resume. That's your marketing. That's your marketing. A person gets an email, a client, a potential client gets an email from you. That's your marketing. They see a post on social media. That's your marketing. They still haven't met you. You are the brand. You come behind the marketing. And the sale comes later. So, one thing that you have to understand is that marketing is senior to the sale. Marketing comes first, then the introduction to the brand, and then the sale.
100%. I like that. You said marketing. Let me write that down. Marketing is senior to the sale. Guys, write that down. Write that down. Now, I've also heard you say in the past, and a few other influencers as well. If you can market very well, then selling becomes easy. If you can't market very well, selling becomes hard.
Trust me,
So
it's very hard.
is it like a chicken and egg sort of thing? Like, so if I'm getting started in business, what would I focus on first? What would you recommend and why? Should I focus on the marketing first, or should I focus on learning how to sell? And this is for somebody who is literally just starting up, just launching. They need to generate income. People always tell me, well, how can I, where's the ROI? Where's the ROI? Like they want to make money quickly, right? They want to recover an investment. So for somebody who's looking for that sort of thing, what do you recommend starting with? Is it the marketing or is it the sales?
I love the question, and I want to paint a picture for everybody paying attention, right? And I want to take you on a trip through memory lane. Remember the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith?
Yep.
In the Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, he got an opportunity to sell. He was brought in and they asked him a question, and he was able to sell himself. They asked him why should they hire him. I think he had on a dirty shirt or something. He had been thrown. He had got hit by a car that day, so he was ripped up. And they gave him a chance then to sell himself and sell them on his value. But before he got chosen to do that, he had been marketing himself for months. He had shown up every day for months. He had been opportunistic, taking every opportunity for months. He had been making himself known. He had been consistent and persistent for months before he got the opportunity to sell. You have to market yourself first. You absolutely must market yourself first, or no one's going to ever give you the opportunity to sell. That comes first. It's senior to the sale. So this is the problem, right? So everybody wants to make a deal, everybody wants to sell something, and the problem with online right now, the problem with coaching for real, executive coaching and executive presence for real, is that novices, newbies, and amateurs are giving the profession a bad name because they don't know how to market professionally, proficiently, expertly, excellently. They don't know how to market whatsoever. So the moment they shake someone's hand or see someone who catches their eye, they're trying to make a sale. They want a promotion. They are immaturely, out of impropriety, asking for a sale when nobody knows who they are. That's the problem, and that's the gap. And that's why a lot of good, phenomenal individuals in business get a bad name because people don't understand the business that they're in. People think I'm a coach. Okay, I'm a coach. I have to sell coaching. Coaching is what you do, it's not who you are. And it's not really the business that you're in. And if you think you're in just coaching, then you're going to have a problem for a long time. Realistically, you are in the business of marketing your coaching services. Your business is marketing. You need to learn how to market. And that's inside of the job market and outside of the job market. People wonder why are they sitting in the same seat for 20 years? No promotion. Seeing people come in the organization and go up or out of the organization making 10 times more than them in a small amount of time. And that's because they know how to network. They know how to market themselves. They know how to make themselves seen in a sophisticated and professional manner.
Right. So, what's so interesting, you said something and I wrote it down. You said something along the lines of basically them being able to put themselves out there, or people, basically them making themselves known.
That's
But what
right.
I find very interesting, it's one thing to make yourself known, but it's also another thing to know, you yourself know who you're looking for. So I mean, just making yourself known, if you're making yourself known to the wrong person, then that also doesn't work. So how important is it that they understand the ideal client first before they start to put themselves out there? Because even when you look at a sale, for example, Sean, like the way you design a product. Now, people, especially coaches, they just put out stuff. Like, so they put out a coaching program. They do this. They say, I'm a life coach. I have a life coaching program. But honestly, the way you design an offer, the offer should be designed for the specific client that you're targeting. So let's talk about that. Like, how important is that piece when getting started?
All right. What you're talking about is clarity. Clarity. And we're going to have a phenomenal conversation on that. I want to go to a break real quick because we just kind of deep dived into everything. So I want to go ahead and go to a break real quick, guys. Stick around. And when we come back, we're going to talk about rockets and pockets, riches and niches, and the absolute necessity for pristine and crystal clarity. So let's grow. Stick around. I'm just a kid from Harlem who God chose to show his favor. Themselves while improving the lives of others. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. Yes. Let's get to it.
All right, guys, we are back. I want to send a quick shout out to everybody who is just tuning in. Go ahead, put it in the comments, put in your flames. If you have any questions about marketing, then please go ahead and put it there as well. If you're in business, then you should have a question about marketing because that's all it is. That's really and truly all business is: marketing and sales. That's it.
And
Market, sales,
Go ahead.
market, sales, product delivery. That's it. That's it. The whole process.
ABC. Super simple. Super simple. So we have I Am She Who Dared on IG, Daniel Sarpong on IG, Pierre Ingram on IG, LinkedIn Voice, Jacqueline, Baba, Portia, Casey, Joyce, and Endurance. Okay, so let's get into it. We were talking about clarity. So rockets and pockets and riches and niches. Rockets and pockets and riches and niches. And Junior was asking me about the importance of clarity. Well, if you don't know where you're going, you're already there. Let me just say that real quick. If you don't know where you're going, you're already there. If you don't, I was told this. It was funny because, I grew up in the underserved populations, right? Very challenged demographics. And I can remember at an alternative school, we had a retired police officer who was a teacher. Forget his name right now, but he was something else. And he said to me, Sean, on one of my many interactions with him, he said, Sean, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This was before I was 15 years old. I was being told this by former police officers. He said, Sean, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you don't know who you're marketing yourself to, or you don't know the pay grade that you're looking for, if you don't know the position that you want to hold, if you don't know where you're going, there's no reason to get into the car at all. There's no reason to start the car. There's no reason to buy a car if you don't know where you're going. So a lot of people are just online. They don't know what they're doing. They're just present, or they think they're present. But realistically, you're giving a bad impression. So some people would say that any news is good news. Not really. Not really. I disagree with that completely. Yes, you're going to make a mess, but you want to have an idea of which way the mess is heading, where you're going. So when you set a target, then you can reverse engineer it. So let's say you jump into the workforce at the very beginning, end of your college career, and you start at 50 and you say, I need to make 6 figures. Now you have a target. Now you can say to yourself, okay, what are 6-figure individuals doing? What are they earning? What fields do they come from? What do I need to know next? And that gives you a road, a path, because success leaves clues. You can pick up mentors now. You can say, okay, such and such is that multiple six figures. I need to tie my train to hers and find out what she's doing. I need to buy her lunch. I need to find out more. I need to go to this networking meeting. I need to get inside of this group. If you're already at seven figures and you're learning from people who are at the same seven figures, then you're not going to go anywhere. You need to learn from people making 8, people making 9, people making 10. But in order to know that and in order to do that, you have to set that as a goal. You have to set that as a goal. That's clarity. And if you don't have clarity, then you're already there. You're going to be confused. If you found yourself in, if you think you've been in business for 5 years and you haven't seen real profit, if you haven't paid yet a regular person's annual salary in taxes, then you have no clue what you're doing.
100%. 100%. So yeah, guys, the first step is clarity. You must have clarity. In fact, I spoke to somebody just yesterday and they were telling me the same thing. Wants to get into coaching, doesn't have clarity. And, it's one thing to put yourself out there, but really and truly, like if you're not designing your content like with specificity, right? When it comes to the ideal client, you either get the wrong people. So you get the wrong people commenting or the wrong people engaging with your posts or, that kind of thing. Or you just don't get anybody at all, and it becomes frustrating sometimes. And I could definitely understand why. So guys, before you even put yourself out there, you have to know, who am I putting myself out there for? What do they actually want? What are their pain points? What are their challenges? And, these are the things that I don't always hear people considering. Maybe they just don't know, which is okay. Or maybe they don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? But this is why you're listening to this particular podcast, right? So knowing the challenges, the fears, the desires, and Sean, what I call the dream outcome. So for your ideal client, when they close their eyes, what do they imagine? Like if you could design a post or anything that could show people how they could maybe aspire to freedom. Maybe they want freedom. Maybe they want to, leave their job. Maybe they want to have a house in Hawaii. Whatever it may be. If your post can speak to that dream outcome, then it's most likely going to convert, and it's most likely going to get you the results that you want.
Hold on. For my people on LinkedIn Voice, for my people who are professionals, what that means, your ideal client is the person who has the power to write the next check for you. Your ideal client is not the market or the industry that you're trying to break into. Your ideal client is the person who can hire and promote or give you the raise and put you in charge of the department that you're looking to be in charge of. That is your ideal client. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that they need? What do they dream of? What is the pain point that I can solve for them? Because if you can solve your superior's problems, your superior will make you their right-hand man. Trust me. Your ideal client is not the people that you serve as far as the public that you face. That's not your ideal client. Your ideal client is the person who can write the check. Guys, listen, this is so important because a lot of times we say we want to serve this population. And because we want to serve this population, we say, I need another degree or I need to know more about the demographic or the particulars of the industry or the organization or the people that they serve. That's not true. What you need to do is you need to identify the person who can write the next check, who can give you the promotion. And you need to make sure that their needs are addressed. Because the organization's need and your supervisor's needs are two different things. In business, in the entrepreneurial space for speakers, your ideal client is not the audience. Your ideal client is the event manager who can sign the check, write the check. They have separate understandings of the problem. I want you to understand this. They have separate understandings of the problem. So the audience, it might be an event for project management. Let's just take any topic. So it's an event for project management. You want to speak in a professional space. So the audience wants to know how to become more efficient on their position as a project manager. That's not the event organizer's main concern. The event organizer's main concern, the person that can write the check for you, the person that can hire you, the person who has the power, whether you get on stage or not, their main interest is the ability for you to be polished and professional, the ability to have a team. You have to have a team so the synchronicity of the performance can go unhinged. They also want you to have a following so that when they sign you and bring you in as a speaker, they know they can count at least 50 to 100, maybe 150, 200 people that are going to follow your brand to the event. Two different things. So you can be the best at what you do, but you may not be the best fit for who you do it for. You might have a lack of clarity on who you're actually serving and who your ideal client is. And that's why you wonder why people keep getting promoted when they're less qualified than you. In your mind, they're less qualified, but they're not less qualified. They're actually exceptionally tailored to the position and to the person in charge of writing the check. Kimberly asks, so how do I get to the person who is writing the check? Kimberly, first you have to know who they are. You have to know who they are. Kimberly Fallis on IG asks, how do I get to the person who is writing the check? Phenomenal morning, Angelina Transforms. To answer Kimberly's question, and for everybody on LinkedIn, for everybody on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the way you get to the person who's writing the check first is to identify them. Role clarity. Role clarity. Let me provide a little bit of role clarity for everybody, because I don't know. We just jump in and kind of serve people, right? This is what we do. And on IG right now, there's poor connection, so I apologize for that. But watch this. The reason why we do this is like mentoring mornings. These are like morning mentoring sessions. And the reason why we do this is because we want to help you, we want to serve you, and we want to give you more for free than most people will give you for a fee. That's why we do this. This is marketing, and you're watching us do what we teach. So we teach marketing. We teach putting yourself out there. We teach being a magnet. We teach monetizing free. We teach giving value over delivering in value. And this is exactly what we're doing. And this is because we want to serve you. We believe that if you serve first, if you earn trust, you'll earn money later. That's not even like we put people over profit. We put value over valuation, meaningfulness over money, and service over salary. So take a page out of Sean Rais's book, because it works. What you want to do is you want to find out who you want to serve on the job, out of the job, and then you need to serve them. People say, I'm qualified. Why won't they hire me? Why won't they promote me? They don't understand. You're right. They don't understand because you haven't served them yet. In your mind, you say, well, why would I over deliver if they're only going to want more? Why would I go around as a supervisor and ask what they want when I'm already making my salary and I'm not going to get paid more? You do what you get paid more for before you get paid more for doing it. Let me unpack that for a minute. I know it's early in the morning. I hope you guys got your coffee. One thing that you could do if you're going to come to this call is wake up a little bit earlier. Get your coffee a little bit earlier. Get dressed a little bit earlier. That will enhance your performance in and by itself. But watch this. You want to do what you get paid more for before you get paid more for doing it. Why would you do that, Sean? The reason you would do that is because the way you convince people that you can help them is by actually helping them.
I agree. I have a small tip for Kimberly, if I may.
Please.
Just on the hows. How do you actually do that, right? So I would say follow the money. Just follow the money. Like, it's so simple. Like, look at your competitors. You have to be able to identify your competitors. So who's actually doing what you want to do? Success leaves clues, Kimberly. So find out who's doing what you want to do, who's already contacting the people that you want to contact. What are they doing? Number one, what platforms are they using? Are they using YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn? Is it in person? Is it events? Is it offline? Is it online? You have to find out that. How are they marketing? Are they using magazines? Are they using letters? Are they using mail? Are they using Facebook posts? Like, just by studying your competitors, you're going to find a lot of clues. But like Sean was saying, you need clarity. Number one, you have to actually know what you want to do. And once you have that clarity, then you dig into, okay, who's doing what I want to do? Look at what they're doing, look at who they're serving, and that'll point you directly to who has your money. 100%.
Like
Because if they're in business, Sean, it means they're making business is money in, guys. That's it. Business means money in. So if they're in business, it means that somebody's paying them. So if you look at what they're doing, you look at the channels that they're using, you'll have an idea of who's paying them, and then you'll have an idea of who can pay you. And that's what I would recommend.
very good, very good. In a professional setting, I always looked at what was my next. I mean, even before the hiring process would begin. I talked yesterday about staking out the outside of an organization before I walked in to kind of taste the air, get the energy of the community. Well, it's the same thing when I walked into an organization. When I walked into an organization, I always thought of who was my next, like what was my next position, not what the position that I was hired for. I'm going to over deliver in that. There's no question whatsoever. But I'm always looking for who's the next person that needs to know me. Not just who I need to know, because it doesn't make a difference if you know who the people are. The problem is that they don't know you. You're the best kept secret because of a lack of confidence, or because of the inability to speak up for yourself, or the inability to express yourself, right? The inability to position yourself. So to Junior's point, you want to know who's writing the check, where there's money in. So who's the next person that you need to see? And then how do you appropriately position yourself? Because there is such a thing as brown nosing. There is such a thing as too eager. And there is such a thing as unprofessional. It's called thirsty. There's no problem with being hungry, but there is an obvious problem with being thirsty. Okay, so Kimberly asks, so now that I'm clear on who I am and who I serve, what's next? I am a retirement coach / speaker. The road to retirement is an emotional one. And retirement is more than money. I love this question, Kimberly. So now you want to think, now this is business. So business, Junior said, is money in. And this is for people on the job or outside the job. How much money do you want to make? How much money do you want to make? So let me give you a little bit of a background and give you the example. When I first came into college, I was led by my heart, and I just wanted to serve people. So my associate's degree is in human services, super generalist, super generalist degree, human service. I wanted to save the world. As I became more targeted and more education, more intelligent and more targeted within the educational process, my bachelor's degree is in industrial and organizational psychology. That's a huge pivot. That's a huge pivot. And the pivot happened in two parts. The first part was, how do I want to live my life? Where do I want to live? And who do I want to serve? And number two, it's very practical, not qualitative at all, quantitative. How much money do I want to make? How much money do I want to make? There was two positions above that of the industrial and organizational psychologist. One was the psychiatrist, one was the psychologist. So one person recommended and prescribed drugs, and the other one dispensed of the drugs. I said, well, I'm from Harlem. If I want to sell drugs, I don't need to be in school. Right? Quite frankly. And it was the third highest paid profession in the psychological field, and the most equipped. It was literally the science of motivation and performance among high performers within business settings. I set my sights on that. I graduated with that degree probably in 2015, 16. I set my sights on that then. And here we are almost 10 years later, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I have an incomprehensible salary. I'm not even salaried. I own my own business. But I set my sights on that before I had an internship. I want you to think. And I want you to plan. And I want you to see what it really looks like. If you don't have clarity, then you're already there. If you set the target on, if X marks the spot and you know you're next, then it's only a matter of time and consistency and discipline. That's it. And you'll be able to shorten the time. Kimberly says, this is good stuff. Huge thanks to both of you. Thank you very much, Kimberly. No problem. Ellie, I see you on IG. Endurance, Renee, Casey, Baba, Jacqueline, Joyce on LinkedIn. Let's go to another commercial. Guys, think about what I just said and think about how this can serve you and think about what your next is. Because a lot of people are going to work right now and you're probably going somewhere where you don't want to be, or you wish you could move up and you want to add a 0 to your salary. Think about that. Identify that person. Write their name down. Who is your next?
I said Sean Rice. I'm proud. I said Sean Rice.
Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire and heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary.
Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking.
If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand.
Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys. So Kimberly asked a question, right? Kimberly has a statement, rather. She says, I'm very frustrated. And that's okay. I mean, a lot of people in business, entrepreneurship, as an employee, even as a leader in organizations, you can be very frustrated. She says, I know I have what is needed out here. So think about it, guys. How many of you know that you have what's needed? How many of you know that you are an expert and you have value, but nobody else knows it? She says, I can't tap in. She says, I can't tap in. So if you feel like there's something present right out of reach and you don't know how to put your hands around it, you can probably relate to that, right? She says, a short-term goal is an additional $50K a year. Long-term goal, $100K. She says, I want to stay on my job at least 6 years. Okay, so here is a professional who wants to stay on the job for 6 years and they want to add an additional $50,000 a year onto her salary or income. So that's what I'm going to look at it as. I'm not going to look at it as only salary. I'm going to look at it as an income because I don't think it really makes much of a difference where the money comes from as long as it comes. Right? So a lot of people are tied to what they think they need to do instead of what they really want. Because if they looked at what they really wanted, then they would become much more curious and much more less unhinged or impinged on how they get it done. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to do, Kimberly, is solve a $50,000 problem. Solve a $50,000 problem. So yeah, what's a $50,000 problem, right? For me, I was in the underserved population, helping people stay home, helping people get reunited with their families, helping people get clean and sober, helping people take job training skills and things of that nature. But that wasn't $1 million problem. That wasn't $1 million problem. It wasn't valued that way. Now, I valued the people more than anything else, but the organization and the country and the society, the counties that I was in, did not value the problem as much as they did, say, workforce development. They didn't value the problem as much as they did leadership being a huge problem, staffing, recruiting being a huge problem. So watch this. I served in that lower income capacity 6% of the population. And when I did the assessment that you need to do, Kimberly, when I did the assessment that you need to do right now, I learned that 89% of the population was employed and highly valued. As soon as I learned that, my major shifted. My mind shifted. My mind shifted. My major shifted. My practice shifted. And then my bank account shifted. When I realized, okay, hold on, this is the population that is treasured and highly valued. This is a multi-billion-dollar problem. Leadership was a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. Workforce development, multi-billion-dollar a year industry just in this country alone. But it's a worldwide problem. So now you go from being local to being global. You go from thinking local to thinking global. And I said, okay. And I went from human services to industrial and organizational psychology. I went from about $35,000 to $75,000 a year like that. Just like that. And I didn't really have to do so much more work. I just had to apply the psychological precepts that I had been using with the population and demographic that I served and switch them to another population and serve them. Even in a lower capacity, I didn't have to work half as hard as I did to make twice and 3 times the money in 1/2 of the time with 1/3 of the effort. So I guarantee you, Kimberly, you're looking at the problem from the wrong angle. And I used to teach this in counseling. I would have a circle. I would have a room of men and women sitting in a circle, and I would put a key. I would ask somebody to give me their keys. And I would take the keys and I would put them in the middle of the room, the middle of the circle. And I would give everybody a piece of pad and a pen. And I would say, draw what you see. And at the end of the exercise, there would be 12 different pictures that didn't look the same at all. And that's based on where you're sitting. So from where Kimberly's sitting, she doesn't have the solution to this. She can't see it. She says, I can't tap in. But from where I'm sitting, having already done it, Kimberly, you can tap in and it's easy. You just need to find the problem that adds a 0 to be solved. For me, it was from human services to workforce development, leadership services, executive services.
Yeah, and Sean, that sort of goes back to what we started talking about this morning, which is actually the target market.
Yes.
It goes into the target market. It also goes into branding as well. So it is sort of marketing on the job, because by switching that population, Sean switches, in business, you would say he switches market. He switches ideal client. His ideal client profile, he switched it up and he got into a different profile. And of course, we all know this, Sean. You could sell the same thing to different people, and it's worth different things to different people.
Oh man, Junior, I have to say this, right? I went from working in the ghetto of the South Bronx to working on Wall Street. Literally. I went from working under the train stations and having trash and garbage all over the streets to working downtown around Battery Park and overlooking the Hudson River. It was absolutely phenomenal. Unbelievable. The quality of the food alone, the quality of the air alone was unbelievable. And not to mention the quality of my bank account. It shifted completely. My perspective was open. I saw huge possibility. And ultimately, it was those small shifts that led to us being here.
100%. 100%. You know, Kimberly, I really love this question. Kimberly, guys, if you have any other questions, go ahead, put it in the chat. I want to send a quick shout out to Yvette. So Yvette Bolin says, good morning. Got a late start today, but I'm here. So Yvette is normally here every single day. So shout out to her. I see we have Shade Rivera. Shout out to Shade. Nice to have you with us, brother. Sean, we're actually due for another break. It feels like the time is just, I don't know, it's just flying this morning, man.
Oh,
we're actually due for another break.
All right.
Guys,
We've got Ricardo Jackson on IG. Let me shout out Ricardo Jackson, Joyce Johnson, Jacqueline, Baba, Casey, Renee, Endurance, and Kerry. Kerry Wallace has come in on LinkedIn Voice. Guys, phenomenal morning. I really want you to think about what I just said. It might not be the position. It might not be the education level. It might just be the industry that you serve. We'll be right back.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
Let me add a little bit more depth and breadth, length and height to what was being stated before we went to the break, right? Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, you probably are familiar with those names. If not, you should be. But I can remember a common story of theirs being that you can make $5 flipping hamburgers, French fries, and taking out the garbage at McDonald's. But you can make $6 if you whistle while you do it. So your attitude does play a part. Your performance does play a part in this. I want to just make sure I'm clear on that. Just pay attention. I'm going somewhere with it. Flipping burgers and fries and taking out the garbage can net you $5 in McDonald's if you just do it. If you whistle while you do it, you can make $6. But if you flip burgers, make French fries, and take out the garbage in a 5-star restaurant, you can make $50 when you do it. And if you whistle while you do it, you can make $70 to $100. So your attitude means a lot, but the place and the location where you do it is equally important. The people that you serve The people that you serve, the demographic and the market that you serve is equally important. So before you just start marketing, wantonly throwing stuff out, you want to be very specific about where you want to be in your life. Where do you want this thing to how do you want this thing to play out? How do you want this thing to play out? Do you have dreams of 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures? Because if that's the case, then you need to make 7-figure moves and 7-figure decisions. Have 8-figure insights and learn from people who are in those markets doing the things that you want to do. You can't try to figure out college listening to somebody who hasn't gotten past high school.
You know, Sean, you know what's so funny? There's actually a real world example of this during the World Cup. I know, like, you know, I know you're all in America. You guys have like the Super Bowl and stuff.
Okay.
The rest of the world, we have the World Cup. So in the Caribbean, we have the World Cup, right, all around the world. And there was this guy, and I want you to look this up. He was literally standing at a train station, and all he was doing, he was only directing people, like just giving them the right direction to the train station. But he did it in such a way that he actually got the attention of like people in government in Dubai. Like people called him up, they gave him a special job. Same thing you were saying. They raised his salary. Tourists who actually come into the train station to take pictures with him. He went viral. And
Yeah.
all he did was like literally just pointing. He was like, "Hey, Metro." That's it. Like literally 2 words. And he was just pointing them to the metro station, and that's it. And like he did it in such a phenomenal way that he was like a tourist attraction. Literally, he was like a tourist attraction. People, hundreds and hundreds of, if not thousands of people were taking pictures with him just
I-
because of his attitude and the way that he did it. Guys, so look this up. Look up the Metro guy during the FIFA World Cup this year. Look that up.
FIFA Cup Metro, FIFA Cup Metro. Go ahead, Google that. And I have an acronym real quick for that. It's called MOE. MOE. Manner of Excellence. Manner of excellence. Are you conducting yourself in a manner of excellence? Are you conducting everything about yourself? I'm talking about your lunch break. I'm talking about the water cooler. I'm talking about your phone being in your hand. These are the things that are noticed by people who can hire you and promote you. They notice what time you walk in. They notice what time you leave. There's cameras everywhere. Even if you're offline, even if you're at home in a remote situation, people monitor. The eyes of the world are always upon you. Your phone is a monitoring device. You might as well turn it on to the world and let them see what you're doing, right? Because you're always being monitored. So you might as well conduct yourself as if someone's always, always present and always, always watching you, because they are. Because they are. And you will be held accountable and judged and promoted and weighed, and consequences will be levied based on how you perform. Every single moment of every single day. So ask yourself, am I conducting myself in a manner of excellence? Am I currently being overpaid based on how I perform? Am I being paid in commiseration with my education and expertise? Or am I being underpaid? Be honest. Be honest. That's the first part of leadership development, and growing in your position and growing in yourself is taking an honest, accurate assessment. Same thing with marketing. As a matter of fact, guys, your bank account, your job right now, your position in life, the state of your bank account, the state of your relationships are all a result of your present marketing every day. You've been marketing yourself, whether you've been doing it intentionally or not. So look at the room that you're in right now. Look at the phone that you're watching, and look at the room that you're in, and say to yourself, wow, how has my marketing got me here? Is this really the situation that I want to be in? And if it's not, shift the marketing. Super simple. Now, it sounds super simple conceptually, and it is, but contextually, that's where the science comes in. And that's what we teach.
You know, Sean, just because something is simple doesn't mean it's easy.
No, not at all. Not at all. If you don't know what it looks like, then you, again, need to find people who do. I mean, I went to the Porsche track in Atlanta, right? I was speaking at an event in the Porsche track in Atlanta, and I got in the Porsche, and they don't let you drive the Porsche. You gotta go through a rigorous process to be qualified to drive one of the Porsches, right? So they put me on the passenger seat. I'm like, I've had a license for years. Like, I can drive. Let me get in the car. Let me whip it. And they were like, oh no, sir, you're gonna have to sit on the passenger side and just take a ride with us for a moment, real quick, right? And I laughed. I'm like, nah, this should be no problem at all. But I just, I went along with the flow. I said, okay, no problem. I'm a guest here. I'm in Dubai, do as the people in Dubai do. So I said, okay, I got in the passenger seat. The guy said, are you ready? I said, yeah. He said, buckle up. I said, come on, man. Is it really going to be that intense? He said, buckle up. Trust me. So I buckled up. And when he hit the torque on that piece, Junior, it felt like I was being shot into space. I promise you, it felt like I was being shot into space. Completely different situation. Completely different situation. The torque was unbelievable. I can just imagine what my face looked like. Right? So again, guys, different marketing, different intention will put you in different places. And in those different places, there's a different language. There's a language of excellence. There's a language of performance. And you got to understand, the C-suite doesn't conduct itself the same way that the front line does. And that's why they're there. And that's why they stay there. And that's why they get promoted. And this is like, as a CEO, you have to think differently, articulate yourself differently, conduct yourself differently. And if you want to eventually arrive there, or arrive at the C-suite, or arrive at 7 figures, or arrive at 8 figures, or arrive where you have a community, arrive where you're a professional speaker being paid to travel the world and speak, you got to begin to conduct yourself in a manner of excellence today. Today. They called me church when I went to work. They called me church because I didn't care what day it was. I wore a white shirt and a tie every day, no matter what. I have seen in 20 years people go from an unpaid intern to the C-suite, making 6 figures plus. As an immigrant, I have seen this with my own eyes. People walk in the door playing a security role, barely speak a lick of English. And then they move up, qualify, take tests, change everything about themselves. The bank account is the last thing to change, guys. The first thing to change is your mind. The second thing to change is your behavior.
100%.
I got to say, relationships. Who are you talking to? I'm not saying discount the person who doesn't get paid as much as you. I'm not saying that. Don't discount them. Everybody's valuable. Treat them very royally, as a matter of fact, because people are watching that too. But you need to learn from the people who are doing the things that you want to do and making the kind of money that you want to make. That's how you build a $1 billion brand. That's how you go from 6 figures to 7 and 7 figures to 8 and so on.
Yes, sir. I wanna plug in the. Can we plug in the link to the masterclass this Saturday? I want to plug that in. Can we speak a little bit to that, because we're about to wrap up in a few minutes. So, guys, again, if you want to connect with us live, virtually, right? Not really in person, but virtually, you can actually use this link. It's www.livedeepdive.com. It's a little more intimate than the StreamYard, right? So it's more of a Zoom sort of setting where we could actually converse. We could have a real conversation, not only through the text, but also through voice. So let's use that, www.livedeepdive.com. It's 100% free of charge. And this is where you could ask myself and also Sean your most pressing questions as far as it relates to branding, coaching, marketing, speaking, and business success. So tap in www.livedeepdive.com.
And maybe you'll be one of the success stories that we have, guys, to really shine the light on what it really is. We've helped people in their corporate position more than double their salary from 6 figures to almost $250,000 from branding and positioning and marketing. BPM, branding, positioning, and marketing. So everything that we're talking about, there's a system to it. There's a specific way that it's done in a manner of excellence that gets you a solid result, in a short amount of time. We've had people come in with credit repair businesses and start making $20,000 a month. We've had other people come in and retire themselves and their spouses in a short amount of time. Realistically, if you want to learn this in a setting that's not invasive or intrusive, where you will not be judged and you will be assisted. Again, guys, we believe in giving more for free than people give for a fee. And we want you to hold us accountable to that. So show up on the livedeepdive.com Saturday, Eastern Standard, 5 p.m., and put it to the test. Put it to the test. And I'll show you how we over deliver and how you can go from what we called crickets to digits, no matter what the plan.
Yes, sir. Before we sign off, Shade, I see your question. Definitely send me a message. Okay, Brother Shade. So just send me a message. You know how to contact me, and I'll be looking forward to your message. Let's grow.
Let's grow.